Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I have an exciting video on how to manifest constant communication. I think, communication is a huge part of, starting a relationship, building a relationship. And I personally do not think that manifesting constant communication is messing with the middle or anything. I do look at it like this. If you're living from the end of being in a relationship, would you be constantly communicating with the person? And if the answer is yes, then it is part of living from the end or in the end. Okay. So yeah, just before we dive into it, guys, I do have a course, Create the Relationship You Love. And a client actually got their SP back and they got proposed to. So really exciting. It's about recreating your relationship so you can use it if you've been in a breakup, or you just want to take your relationship to the next level, or you're in a committed relationship and things they do just sort of annoy you. So it can be used to recreate anyone, a brother, a sister, your mother, your pets, anything at all. Anything that you have, anyone that you have a relationship with. It can even help you improve your relationship with your microwave. Why not? I mean, because everything in our reality is us pushed out, whether it be our car, people, our bodies, everything. So yeah, link is in the description below. So guys, let's dive into it. How to manifest constant communication. So if you're being ghosted or anything like that, I'm going to be able to help you in this video to be able to create that. So I'm going to share a little success story of my own. I remember way back when I first started dating Andrew, he wouldn't message me all that much, right? Because I basically had a story that guys don't message much, right? And then I was like, well, I intended that he would basically message me all the time. So then he did start messaging me all the time. He'd send me CNN articles. And then of course I would get the CNN articles and I would be almost like, why is he sending me articles on how to be healthy or what healthy foods and the benefits of blueberries and all this other stuff, right? And then I would start questioning and reading into it, right? Taking it personally. And then I realized, I'm like, well, you know what? I just said that I wanted him to send me messages all the time. I didn't specify what I wanted to hear in the messages. So I started to get more specific. I started to say, look, I intend he texts me every morning and says good morning and tells me to have a great day. I intend he texts me and asks me out on dates. I intend that he texts me throughout the day to check in and see how I'm doing. I intend that he loves to hear from me, right? So what I started doing, right, was every day I would get up and I would text him. First thing I'd be like, hey, hope you're having a great day. And, are you going to be stopping by after work later, right? And then, he would message me back eventually oh, having a busy day. Yeah, I'll be there after work. And and then I just kept texting every morning with the intention that he would text me. So what ended up happening is one day I actually got really busy when I was working. I got really busy. I forgot to text him. And then all of a sudden he texted me at 11 and he was like, oh, good morning. He's like, how are you? Right. And I was like, oh, I'm good. And then I said, well, are you coming over later? And he said, yeah. And the funny thing is when he came over later, he said to me, he's like, you didn't text me this morning. I was like, oh no, I got busy. Sorry. Right. And I could tell he was a little bit oh, I worried if you were going to text me and see if I was coming over type of thing, because we were still new in our relationship back then. So it was funny because I stopped doing something, he questioned it, which was kind of funny that I thought. But then what I started doing was I just started going, he calls me, he texts me all the time for no reason. And it was funny, one day I was driving down the road and he phoned me and I answered it and I was like, hey, how are you? He's like, I'm good. I'm like, what's up? He's like, nothing. I'm like, oh, why'd you call? He's like, oh, no reason. And I was like, oh my goodness, he literally called for no reason. I was like, wow. So, some of the things that and then by the way, guys, we're getting married in now less than a month and 2 days as of right now when I'm recording this video. So, that's proof right there that texting and manifesting constant communication is not messing with the middle. It really isn't. It's not. It's actually been a really great thing for me to establish that early in the relationship, because there's been times that Andrew has gone on business trips where I haven't gone with him, and the whole entire, communication that I manifested in the beginning of the relationship, he still does now. When he's out now, like on a business trip, he'll text me first thing in the morning and be like, hey, how are you? I hope you have a good day today, right? And text me throughout the day, like constantly, because that's where I got our texting to before we moved in together and started living together, pardon me, and all this sort of thing, right? So, you know, what it comes down to is, you know, looking at your relationship and saying, okay, well, when I have what I want, what would be happening in it? Like, what am I going to see, hear, and feel? When I have the relationship that I want, am I going to be like, you know, texting them all the time? Are they going to be texting me? Are we going to be talking constantly? So, yeah. So I know from experience that, you know, manifesting constant communication is definitely not messing with the middle, because I am getting married in a month and 2 days to the man that I manifested constant communication with when I was dating. So never look at anything. Never look at anything like it's messing with your manifestation. Always look at everything that you're doing in your reality, that it's going to get you closer to your manifestation. So no negative, guys. Nothing is messing with anything. Never say that. Never say, oh, that's it. I've done this. I've messed with the middle. No, you're the creator. You create the rules. So create that everything that you do, every action you take, every thought that you have is getting you closer to what you want. Okay. So let's create those ground rules and those beliefs right now within us. And let's set those boundaries within us to the universe. Okay. Don't tell the universe that manifesting something is messing with your manifestation. No, no, never. Okay. Everything you say, do, and think is getting you closer to what you want. Okay. So let's dive into what this video is actually about, which is how to manifest constant communication. Sorry, went on a bit of a rant there, but anyway. So one thing that I found when it came to manifesting constant communication was I would feel really anxious and nervous when I texted my SP at first, because I was scared of rejection. So what I really had to do, so anybody out there that feels like you don't want to message them first because you've got the story like I did, where I was like, no, you know what, if he really likes me, he can chase me. If he really likes me, then he's got to message me first. He's got to message and reach out first to prove that he wants, you know, to be with me or to chase me or to, you know, for me not to feel rejected. So the problem with that is we're coming from rejection. Our thoughts are coming from rejection. We want the universe to prove us wrong. Okay. We can't come from that. Now, you don't have to be the one to text them first. You really don't. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do what I did and send the good morning text first. I did that because that's how I get over my story. Okay. Every time I would send the text, I would say, you know what? He's happy to hear from me and he's going to text me right back. And he did so every single time. And eventually I got rid of that anxiety. I got rid of that doubt. And then that one day that I didn't text him in the morning and he texted me first and came over, that was a pivotal moment for me, because he said, why didn't you text me first? And I saw right there that he was scared I was rejecting him. And in that moment, I went, wow, this guy likes me, right? So, you know, I personally think it's not about, you know, the end result, right? Like, well, it's not about the journey, it's about the end result. And I mean, I'll do anything in my power to get me to the end result, right? So, but if you want them to text you, or if you're okay with texting them, I would never, okay, suggest you text them and make their lack of texting you back mean rejection. Okay, no, don't go running into the bus. Okay, don't go throwing yourself into that situation to trigger yourself. So if that's the case, then you're going to want to manifest the texting first. Either way, whether you're okay with texting, like you're going to text them and do it that way, or wait until they text you, this is what you really need to do, is you need to get over any rejection story. Because if you're scared to text them because you're scared they're not going to text you back or they're going to reject you, you're never going to manifest a text from them. Okay. So you've really got to change the story about them. Okay. So they love texting me. They want to talk to me. They want to be with me. Okay. You know, they're going to text me and tell me that they enjoy my company. Right. So you've got to talk yourself out of that feeling of anxiety. You got to talk yourself into the point where you're comfortable and neutral enough to send a text, okay? You don't have to send the text, you don't have to make the call, but you have to feel comfortable with doing so. Once you're comfortable in doing so, feeling comfortable in doing so, then that's when you've opened the door for them to come in, and you've gotten rid of your rejection force field, okay? So the thing is, right, is if you've ever noticed, like you think of your like best friend or your mom, and all of a sudden they text you and you're like, of course they did, because there's no rejection. So you want to feel, okay, when you think about texting your SP, you want to feel like you would if it was like your best friend. Okay, comfortable, like feeling like, yeah, I can do it. This person wants to talk to me. And it's about changing the story and letting go of any sort of past, history that may make you feel like they rejected you. So like, for instance, in my situation, okay, because I texted Andrew every day and he texted me back after, and sometimes it took him a while, I could have easily created that he was rejecting me and wasn't really interested in me. I could have made those actions mean those things, that he wasn't interested because he wasn't chasing me. But we need to drop that story, because he's only not texting you first because we're not creating it and allowing the space for it to happen. So we have to look at everything that happens in our reality that's given us that, the thought. We've got to take every meaning that we've given, every bad meaning, and we need to, basically go, okay, well, him not texting me for 3 hours. Now, does that really mean that he doesn't want to be with me? Me texting first, does that really mean that he's not chasing me and he's rejecting me? No, don't give it those meanings, right? You can't give it those bad meanings, because that's the story we create. And when we create that story, we start to create those feelings of rejection. And we don't want those feelings of rejection, okay? So change the story. Take some time to really, literally, seriously change the story. So what does your specific person think about you? Remember, they're you pushed out. They're going to think anything that you want them to think, okay? So if you think, oh, this person thinks I'm the best person in the world and they love talking to me every day, boom, that's what they're going to be. If you think, okay, this person is going to text me and put me as a priority over and above all his video games and go out of his way to spend time talking to me every day, then that's what they're going to do. So you need to change the story about the other person. And then in my case, I had to change the story that guys don't really send text messages, right? And so I had to say, no, you know what? Andrew's different. He loves to phone me and text me and talk to me all day. He loves to check in to see how I'm doing, because I'm his number one priority. Okay. And then sometimes we do need to change our self-concept about ourselves, right? About how we feel about ourselves. Okay. I'm good enough to get a text every day from him. Our constant communication. I'm good enough to get what I want. And sometimes we even need to look at, basically us being too smart for ourselves and saying, oh, I don't know if this manifestation thing works. I don't know if I'm messing in the middle. I don't know if I'm doing this right. No, I am doing this right. Nothing messes with the middle. Everything I think and say gets me to what I want. And you know what? I do know the law works, and it constantly works. Do you know what I'm saying? So we really need to be on top of our mental diets, and you'll be surprised once you catch those few thoughts that are actually really rooted in there and change them a few times, that your whole reality is really going to start to shift. Okay. So yeah, definitely, one of the biggest things, though, I would say, is it's not just about flipping your thoughts. It's about getting really crystal clear on what you want. So remember in my story, I was just like, oh, I intend to text me every day. And then I got all these CNN articles and I started making a story in my head that he didn't think I was healthy because he was sending me like, CNN articles about like the benefits of blueberries, right? When really I wasn't specific and clear on what I actually wanted out of the communication with him. So get clear on what kind of communication do you want? How are they feeling about it? Why are they messaging you all the time? What are you guys talking about? Okay. And, you've got to change the story about the person. Okay. If they're ghosting you right now, you got to sit down and go, hey, look at, if you don't want to be ghosted, never, ever make anyone's behavior or lack of behavior mean that they're ghosting you. Okay. It'd be like, no, you know what? They're just busy. They're going to contact me. Right. Or, whatever the case is, let's say there was a fight and then they stopped talking to you. Okay. Boom. You know what? They're completely over it and they're going to start talking to me again. You got to revise the situation in a way that feels good for you. Okay. So just like when, we're saying feeling rejected, we've got to revise it. Okay. We got to revise whatever in the past happened that's making us feel rejected. And when we revise that story to something that feels good, that's in line with our end goal, then we're going to get there. So if it was a fight or a breakup, you're like, no, you know what? They're over it. They're taking responsibility and they want to be with me. Okay. So what your specific story to get over is completely, unique to you, because, we create our own stories. What thoughts are stopping you from getting what you want is pretty much unique to you, right? I mean, some people may have similar stuff, but I mean, we've all got our different experiences, and we all have different meanings that, people give things. I know, for instance, like I may make something mean different than what somebody else does, right? So yeah, guys, the main thing is, right, is to feel neutral about picking up the phone and making the phone call or sending the text. And once you're there, then you're opening the door for the communication to come to you. Be crystal clear on what you want. What are you going to see, hear, and feel? Change the story about the other person. Be clear on the communication that you want with the person. When are they going to text you? How often? What are you guys going to talk about? And then revise any, bad history that has you ending up feeling rejected or, ghosted or anything like that. So change that story to be in line with a story that's believable to you of you guys getting back into constant communication. Okay. Yes, I intend that this video helps. Guys, thank you very much for being here and subscribing, sharing, liking our videos. And I really intend that each and every one of you guys are absolutely successful. You guys can have it all. You know what? You guys that have been on this journey with me since the beginning know from when I was single, because I started this channel before I even met Andrew. And I've shared my success and my journey, my personal journey with Andrew all throughout the years with you guys. And you guys have been here with me for it. So you know what? It is absolutely 100% possible. And yeah, and I wish the same success for all of you guys. So yes, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.